All right, so sticking with Amazon Prime now, or I should say Prime, right? Let's talk about Fallout, the series, right?
Sure.
Well, I should say one of the two post-apocalyptic series based off of video games that we get in this year, because you're supposed to be getting Borderlands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Ricardo, if you don't mind a way to do the synopsis for this show, right? But
Sure.
preamble time, right? So I will confess, never played Fallout, but I know how big of a deal Fallout is. I know that it is regarded as one of the greatest video games, I should say contemporary video games ever. You know, it's up there with like the Mass Effects and stuff like that, right? But for me, even though I never played them, what always drew me to them was the world that the setup, right?
Yeah.
I love how it's set up here too as well, how it's fleshed out here, right? Where it feels it's an alternate history, right? That's what it is, right?
Right.
But it feels like it's a mixture of, the future and like 50s Americana. So it's just sort of merged together.
Yeah.
So, and it works so well, right? In terms of like the design of like, the architecture and whatnot, and especially the use of music, right? It's all these 50s love ballads and doo-wop songs and all that kind of stuff. So it just adds this dark and very ironic tone, and that's one thing that I always drew me about Fallout. Is just the irony of it all, right? You can't go wrong playing some old love song when you're seeing death and destruction and chaos and people living in bunkers, right? It works, right? And that's what Fallout is leaned into so much, right? But yeah, I just never got to play the games because I don't have the consoles to play the games. I'm sorry, right? But it's one of those games that I just always wanted to play, right? So yeah, when Prime put out the this trailer, like I think it came out on a Sunday or something like that, right? I was like, wait, we doing Fallout 2? Okay, like I didn't know this, right? Okay, all right, they're looking good, like okay, cool, right? And I'm saying this too because I'll bring up two video game based shows, right? And I'll more compare this show to I'll more kind of contrast this with the second show, right? First one, of course, is Halo, right? A show that is based off of one of the greatest games of all time. Halo, love the first game. That's the only game I ever played, right? But I only saw the first episode of the first season. I've not jumped into the second season at all. I remember you telling me that the first season was trash, or just was underwhelming, so I just never bothered. I mean, just from the moment they just showed Master Chief's face, I was like, nope, I'm good, right? But I don't know, it's just that it didn't really capture for me what Halo was, right? Well, the game and what it was about, right? But I am just speaking as somebody who only played the first game, right? And the other show I'll mention here is Twisted Metal, where I only played the first couple of games, right? But when it came to this show, it felt tonally and totally different for what I knew it from, right? But then again, I only played two games and never played the full, franchise, right? So I don't know, but I just felt like with those two shows, I didn't really get a sense of, oh, this is what the game is like, and this is why people love these games so much, right? Now, did I get that with Fallout, the series? I will give that answer in my review, right? So yeah, Ricardo, before you jump into what this show is about, I know you played Fallout, so you can tell me how much Fallout games you play, if you love the world, if it's a world that you're attracted with. I mean, just the aesthetic, aesthetic alone, you are probably you probably appreciate, right? So
and you are absolutely correct. I love the Fallout franchise.
See, I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, if you right, so here's a person I strongly recommend. Look up this guy, look up Noah Caldwell Gervais rundown on the franchise. He does a great take on the material. He choose all the game, go through all the games, tell you why all of them work and whatever it is. Right. I never got into the original Fallout 1 and 2.
Okay.
At the time, I was more into probably Diablo or something like that. I already have that many. Like in terms of my 90s gaming, it's really Doom, Quake 2, Half-Life 1 kind of, but really the side source stuff. But I'd never, and then Diablo 1, which I was really into.
Right, I was into the first Half-Life as well too. I was into GTA 3.
GTA, right, yeah, GTA 1 and 2, right.
And Unreal Tournament. I used to love to play Unreal, right? But that was me.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so but I never got into Fallout. I kind of just missed that. So I was introduced to the franchise with Fallout 3, and since then I absolutely love the franchise. And I thought the story was kind of dotish, but it's still like just the whole world and how everything looking and insane. And yeah, it does the whole as I say when you say you like the whole ironic juxtaposition stuff. Yes, look up. There's a very popular documentary called The Atomic Cafe from the early 80s, I think. great weird little documentary, and that does the retrofuturism aesthetic really, really well. And yeah, I just big fan of the franchise. I am in the camp that loves New Vegas. I don't super love New Vegas, but I like New Vegas enough. If you want to start the franchise now, you can play Fallout 3 on New Vegas. I'm sure they'll run on your computers perfectly fine. They are very old games.
All right.
So by now, yeah, so you could start with those. It'll take up a time, but I'm sure they'll run on your computer perfectly fine. Then yeah, I recommend that. New Vegas is great. New Vegas is to most people, New Vegas is still the height of the franchise in the modern sense. And then Fallout 4, which I have mixed feelings about.
Okay.
It's a game I wish had more focus with its main story, but like everything around it is great. But the main story is I'm just frankly gonna say it kind of stupid. But yeah, it's the franchise that really works as a conceit of, well, you're making fun of the whole 50s aesthetics, but you have a lot of political interesting takes to speak about. It has a lot of conceits towards just actual politics, the 1950s, the Cold War, and how to think about these things, and then making fun of the whole Leave It to Beaver, picket fences stuff, and then, telling it that to this really, really dark, dystopic, nightmare of our future. And the TV show absolutely nailed it, in my opinion. Jonathan Nolan cooked with this dread. Absolutely nailed it. I thought it not only had good perspective they pull from, it had a really interesting mystery that had a great payoff, in my opinion. And then they nailed the whole, as I say, the Atomic Cafe juxtaposition, retrofuturism aesthetic. Right? This could have easily been like a Fallout 5 or a spin-off game or something like that, in my humble opinion. It has a lot of fan service, but none of it felt cloying. It's mostly organic. And they had like little stuff in it that was kind of cool and make it work. Like they had like use of, like if it have a gun called the junk jet, for example, where it's just fire off junk. You just throw junk in and it'll just launch it at the person at high speed. Nolan is perfect for the material because of, and I'll say it straight up, yeah, he does kind of just transfer his skills from Westworld into this. One of the characters is straight up identical to the Man in Black. Like I think we call him Walton Goggins' Ghoul character is straight up Ed Harris's Man in Black. It's almost the identical characters, I would argue. So he pulled the energy, same energy, and given what his track record, especially in the context of, if you know what Fallout 4's narrative is about, yeah, getting Jonathan Nolan to run this, it just really make it work. I just thought this was just, they nailed the tone, they put everything together, great characterizations with Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul, and they just put these things together in terms of a fantastic story, in my opinion. And just it hold me every time. I wasn't bored or found it slow or anything like that. I just was enjoying the aesthetics, the jokes, the violence was like, they make the violence real, like quite shocking. I didn't expect it to be as violent as it was.
Okay.
Okay, wow. They do that. Okay, I would. Like, that was real dread. Like, they actually showed that. Like, it was a scene with involving the power arm and a man's skull.
Oh yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Well, for me, I mean, it's from the studio, not the studio, from the channel, if you will, that gave us The Boys. So I was expecting a level of violence. Yeah.
Right. And then they had also, but the big reveal itself, like the actual like plot line and how dark it was, and who was pulling the strings and making that work, and who is revealed to be part of all of that. I was like, okay, wow, that really, really, really good, solid plot line. They make it work. A lot of callbacks. It didn't have a couple. They leave out a couple things that clearly gonna be for part 2. They hint at it. So if you know what a super mutant is, not in the storyline, or if you know what I forget the creature was it's a giant, like a dragon-like creature in Fallout. It's slipping my mind right now. That was the hint at that, because we see a skull of the animal.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Let's not spoil it, but I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's it. Stuff like that. They make it work. What is the real sell for this? Yeah, all the character actors, all the little guest roles in it, and who was in it. It's like, okay, you in this. Like Sarita Chowdhury in this.
I
like,
know, right? When I see the face, like, let me see you. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's a hot minute. The last time I know her from was, she was in Green Knight, I think. She was in that.
Was she Dev Patel's mom or something? I can't remember. I can't remember. It's
Right.
a long
She was
one.
in Green Line. But I know she from she old movie with Denzel.
Oh, Mississippi Masala. That's like the show
right.
she is known for.
The show she from, right? Yeah, exactly.
Now available on the Criterion Collection. Haha.
Yeah. Michael Rappaport. He had a nice little small role in it.
Oh yes,
I thought that was
yes.
really funny.
Yeah.
Michael Christopher. He was in this. I was watching this man's face and thinking, where I know this man from? And I was like, oh yeah, right, Mr. Robot. He was in that. Right. Cool.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. John Daly. He's like a funny comedy guy. He's like, oh, he in this. He was the weird
the snake oil guy. Yeah.
Oil guy,
that's him. Right.
Yeah. So he was in that. I was like, all right, he's funny. Yeah, he's really good. Chris Parnell. He was funny. He had a nice little role. He was funny in this. With one eye. That was good.
Yes.
Fred Albertson, he was good. He was the radio man, the DJ.
Okay. I was watching the face. I don't know this guy.
And then,
by the way, that joke, that the jokes he was making about the authenticity of the music, that was funny. I got that. I was like, and then they have
what's she named? This woman. She was in American Fiction, but I know her. I think her off the top of my head. I think her from Deadpool.
Leslie Uggams. I was watching the face
Uggams,
too.
right.
Like, all right, when I say watching the face, like, I mean, like, I saw the CD credits, like, oh, right, that's you, right,
yeah,
right, yeah.
And
but who catch me though was Kyle MacLachlan, Jed. When I saw him,
Kyle MacLachlan was his dad, right?
What? Okay.
But yeah, but another side character. I didn't, because I saw him in the trailer, and I was like, oh, he in this. That's why I was like super hyped for it too. Yeah, Michael Emerson, he was great. Playing the scientist and playing the from the Enclave scientist, the escape.
Oh, okay,
like,
okay.
You know, my boy from Lost, great. You know, hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, can't go wrong. You know, so like, yeah, it really, really works. It everything has come together really well. It was paced well. It felt natural. In my opinion, like at least within the concept of the world, it just works so well. And I can't be mad at any of this. Like it's just really well done. 3 good central characters to hang the main story off of. And everything comes together really well, you know, with Maximus and the brothers stealing his arc, and then, you know, Lucy's arc, and her arc comes really dark, and what she does at the ending is like, wow, that pitch black though, but like it worked though.
Yeah,
and then
it was, but I understand. We understand why she did it.
Yeah. And then Walter Goggins and what he was about and how everything just played together and why it works and thing. And I thought it was a really satisfied ending, you know, with what they do and the big reveals and how everything was interconnected. And yeah, I really dug the hell out of this. I this probably gonna get one of the best of the year for me in my humble opinion. I just thought a lot of this really worked. Yeah, I just thought it was really excellent rating. Yeah, I give this like a 9 out of 10. I thought this was excellent. Just comes together really well. You know, stands on business, as they say. Nolan really, really does a good job with this material, and it just came together really well. I personally loved it.
Right. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it as well, right? So I'm just gonna give a negative out of the way, right? So I'll put it like this, right? This would have been the extra star it would have had, but because of this negative, I had to take back a star, right? But don't worry, folks. Don't worry. You know, I have some glowing reviews coming up, right? But anyway, so I mentioned Halo. I mentioned Twisted Metal, right? I'll focus more on Twisted Metal, right? Just doing a quick contrast, right? My thing with Twisted Metal, at least from what I remember with it, right, is that it didn't quite feel like, all right, like if you were to, like, if somebody who never played Twisted Metal before, right, was to look at that season of it, right, and think, oh, is it about, you know, these two characters just kind of going through this post-apocalyptic world and going through a bunch of drama and getting themselves in a bunch of shenanigans, or is it about, you know, some Mad Max shit, right? You know, some people driving around in, like, you know, custom built cars with guns and gunning them down, right? You know what I mean? And that's what we got in the finale. It's like, shit, this is what, you know, we could have gotten throughout the show, right? Not just a bunch of post-apocalyptic, you know, cliches and whatnot, right? For me, as somebody who never played Fallout, right? Even though I thoroughly enjoyed the show, right? I felt, and I don't know if this is just an issue with video game adaptations. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's because of how they've been done in the past. I can't say for sure, right? You know? But I kind of came out of this wishing to myself that if one were to tell me, okay, so based off of what you saw with this season here of Fallout, right? what type of, like, if you were just to picture it in your mind without watching any gameplay or whatnot, right? What type of game is Fallout? Like, if I were to jump into a Fallout game right now, what would I expect from it? I couldn't really sum it up for you. I really couldn't.
Well, that's the thing. To be fair, the franchise has always been this kind of broad conceit because originally it was just mostly like an RPG, and then this one the newer games since Bethesda took over is more like an action RPG. And listen, a bunch of Fallout fans will tell you why Bethesda never understand Fallout and blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever.
Oh, I didn't know it was like that though. Ooh.
Right, it's all of that drama.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the aesthetics is pulled from some of the worst games in my opinion. Like it pulls from mostly 4 and 3 with the aesthetics. And they hint at something at the ending, which is, a big thing, because we know what part of the country they're in, so that means they're next to that big thing. This in the timeline of the world is after all of that. So it's like, all right, whatever. It's a sequel technically. Fine. So it's all of that. It doesn't bother me too much, but I'll admit I am biased towards the franchise because I come in from the gaming perspective and what they're going to do with the game, and this could have easily been a game, that kind of attitude towards it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could understand why it is you won't know what the game is, because it's just about the post-apocalyptic stuff. And this is one of the typical problems with video games, is that it is pulled from material and then have to come back full circle with the material. So, like, where's the inspiration here exactly? It's just older material. Because, like, Raiders they introduce Raiders in the storyline, and Raiders is straight up Mad Max. That's where they're from. Because that's where they pull it from, right? It's the Road Warrior, and so on and so forth. That's why I just kind of look at this kind of attitude. It should just be a thing that tells its own story, and then you pull from the games, or you try to pull something from the game as an aesthetic conceit.
Yeah.
I thought it worked. Like, I didn't have a problem with that because it mostly pulled the aesthetic conceit of the in-game violence, like how when people get shot in the back of the head, how the head will like explode, or how the violence is worked. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the game.
And then that gun that the ghoul has, I love the mechanics of it with the bullet now, like, so it doesn't just like hit you and stop. It hits, and then for a few seconds, like if it doesn't hit something, it just blows up. I love that. That's really dope. Yeah.
Right. And so on and so forth. Like so what I thought actually they would probably do is make a reference to, like, well, Bethesda's game is notoriously buggy and laggy.
Oh god.
I thought they would get something like involving like a delusion, because there's a lot of drug use in the narrative as well.
Oh, okay.
So I thought we'd get something like that. Whatever. That is a dumb little in-joke though. That's about it. But yeah, I just thought just character-wise a lot of it works, mostly because it is something that you're supposed to hate them at first, but then after a while it works as its own premise. And I can't be mad at any of it, because that is why the material work as it is. I personally felt it worked a lot. Like, I get it. I get why you might not like it. But in terms of, like, you judging the game, it's not a first-person shooter, because I just one part of it. It's really an action RPG, kind of. That's how I kind of read it. But it have a lot of RTS elements, and it's kind of, it's mostly, I'll say the later games is mostly action RPG, if it's anything. If you were to judge it from that, yeah. Because they make reference to the stat stuff in the beginning, with Lucy telling off her stats now. That is basically she in-game stats. They're talking about the perks or whatever it is though. It's that. Right? It's a third-person shooter, but a first-person shooter with RPG elements. And you have to make choices.
Okay.
Role-playing game, fighting. That's it. There's the genre. Right?
Yeah, I understand. So I guess it's just with me. I should have just done a little more research into the world of Fallout instead of just jumping into it blindly and thinking, oh well, this show is going to tell me what to expect if I play one of these games, right?
Well, they do the perspective from 3 characters, like with Maximus and things. So like those are 3 styles of play in a sense, in terms of how you have the armored, very heavily armored play. You have Lucy, the most open play. And then you have the cowboy who's like the ghoul and whatnot. No. So yeah, it's tough to look for. Again, I didn't look for it. I just looked for it for what it was, and I just saw, all right, they decided to do this as it is. So that's how I feel about it.
All right, I understand.
From understanding celebration is that we actually get new content for Fallout 4 itself.
Oh wow!
And,
okay.
Yeah, which is I'm feeling a how about that, because what's happened is that Fallout is almost 10 years old now. Fallout 4 came out in like 2015 or something like that.
Okay.
But what happened is that they were supposed to have a big mod that was supposed to come out for Fallout 4, but because they changed in the game, the mod has to be delayed a little while. I'm not sure how long, but it's nice about it. And I was more excited for that mod, Fallout London. So is that. But nice about it. I dug this. I thought Jonathan Nolan is perfect for the material. He just understood how to apply the material. Clearly, to me, there's clearly a lot of Westworld in this, which makes sense because in Fallout is Westworld, and especially if you know the big twist in Fallout 4, it makes sense. Like him applying it, and they might do a lot with that. We're not sure. Given the nature of the franchise and the games, you could kind of go all over the place with it. But why this work too is that they give a lot of like direct answers to questions. Because one of the big questions is, well, what was the end game of Vault-Tec? They straight up answer that. Like, okay, wow, they never really answer that in any like deep or solid way in the games. They kind of give a kind of hint of the answer, but in this they give a very clear answer. Like, oh shit, and then who is the masterminding and pulling the strings? That's a big surprise too. And then the big reveal of our couple characters. Great. I thought a lot of that worked, and I just can't be mad at that. I thought overall this was pretty damn good. The only other adaptation better than this probably is Last of Us. And then I'll say Last of Us is kind of cheat a little bit because Last of Us is straight up kind of a movie anyway, so it's like, hey, whatever. It have not much to change or to tweak it. That's tweaking the story and the framing of the narrative slightly. But Fallout is to touch it together is make it work a lot better in my humble opinion. That's how I feel about it. So yeah, rating 9 out of 10, really high. Very little. I had very few problems with it. Just the usual like, oh well, they could have paced the action better. How it cut together, or who sneak up on who. Usual like nitpicking, blocking stuff, which we'll talk about in the next movie. So yeah, that's about it.
So yes, nitpick aside, because again, I'm not familiar with the source material. Yeah, this was solid business throughout though. I would say one thing though, the world of Fallout is amazing though. Just so well fleshed out though. You know, from set design. Points. Well, points for the music for this too, right? You know, as you mentioned, Westworld, because yes, the moment I saw Jonathan Nolan, I was like, all right, Westworld, all right, that's his second chance. You know what I mean? To go back to this world pretty much.
Hearing Jonathan Nolan was on this is like hearing Get a Girl coming on Barbie.
Okay, yeah.
They're going to cook and do something, above the material and make it and really gel it together and make it work. Like, they're going to cook, Jared. So that I couldn't be mad at it.
Yeah. And I mean, even though like I think he directed actually reading up here, he directed the first 3 episodes, but he is executive producer for this though, and like he just did a great job just setting up the world and whatnot. I should look it up and see because I will not be surprised if some of these songs, the 50 songs that we hear, were made for the exactly made for the game or made for the show itself.
No, I think all of those were real songs. They
were? Okay. Because I just like reading up lyrics. Like, I had the subtitles on because I want to hear what people's singing, right? I like... it feels like it's tailor-made for this scene, but I'm just wondering if it had some, like, modern-day group that does that style of music now, that sings these songs now. Like, in other words, were they made for the for the games and the show, or is it that they were just, like, as you say, real songs? I should actually look it up, though, because, yeah, like, just in terms of the sounds and the songs that they pick, very consistent, very cohesive in terms of, like, the song choices, right? And it's so funny because I binged this actually from Saturday into Sunday as the time of us recording this, right? And yeah, this is some like Radio 97 kind of stuff, dude. I mean, there's that take you back to like just a happier time, a more carefree time, right? And that's the point. That's the point of these songs, in the first place, right? Just that's the irony of the show that I love, right? That's the irony of the franchise that I love too, right? Direction is strong throughout, even if it's not Nolan directing it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just the world, just the cinematography in it is gorgeous in my opinion, though, especially like the stuff in the deserts though. Like, just those scenes look fantastic in my opinion, right? Acting is surprisingly strong, man. You know what I mean? Whether it's Ella Purnell, who plays Lucy, Aaron Moulton, who plays Maximus. He took a while to get used to because I just felt like he just did this stoic face all through, like he just like stoic, you know what I mean?
Well, everybody's making a joke that he could replace Jonathan Majors as Kang now.
Oh, right, yeah, because the face, he have that, he actually had that face down, that
kind of doughy face.
Yeah. Although the moments with him in a vault, that's all say spoil anything, were funny because he actually show a little bit more emotion, right? But to the character's credit and the actor's credit, defense, sorry, the group that he's in, that whole Brotherhood of Steel thing is like, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that you just act like this, all tough and whatnot, right? But it works, right? Like the chemistry that he had with Ella, well, Lucy, right? But of course the scene stealer, the highlight for me is Walton Goggins. And just seeing him here play the ghoul, right? This ghoulish looking cowboy, right? Yes, you are right. It is the Man in Black character from Westworld all over again.
Right.
This how ruthless he is, though, right? And it's just so funny that Judge Nolan get a chance to redo that character again, so to speak, right? There's a literal scene that, like, it clearly is inspired by the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Judd. When I say, like, wow, like Nolan, you real wearing your influences on your sleeve, though, but as a homage to that scene, I love it, right? That's all I see with those pointing, right? But what I did not expect from it, right? I should mention, too, the ghoul, like, music-wise, have this thing where you just hearing this vocalizing, just hearing this, like, you just hate in the background, and like, all right, again, wearing the influences on your sleeve, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I see you. I see what you did there. Aha, right there. But what I did not expect, though, was the flashbacks involving who he really is, right? Taking us back to that time before the bombs fell, right? Him being this Western actor, Cooper Howard, right? And the story that they fleshed out with him. I thought that I thought they was just gonna stop at the beginning of the first episode. That's all I'll say. Those pointing, right? But they went further with that, though, and it just went into the reasoning behind the fallout in the first place, right? And why you have these characters above ground just going wild, and you have these people in the vaults doing what they're doing, right? How, and that reveal in the final episode, though, like, yes, it's an info dump episode, right? But the reveals, but I was like, Jesus, wow. Especially what a character says during a meeting. That's all I see. A character say it, and his host say it too. I'm like, wow, but if that was you? That was you? I was like, Jesus, what? You know what I mean? And where the episode stopped off, though, where the season stopped off, but I was like, wow, okay. Even though I'm not familiar with the franchise, I even got the reference at the end, the final shot, so to speak. I got it, right? And to be fair, the show was a thank you show for doing this, right? Because they do this stuff where you see the end title credits, right? And it's basically like this camera zoom out, right? But it looks like it's the world designed from the game itself. So it looks like, like oh gosh, how to say it? Not so much concept art, but it looks like an actual stage in one of the games, and the camera just sort of pulls out. I love that, right? That's really cool, right? But in that final episode, they kind of show, oh, this is where what's gonna happen next. It's like, thank you, show, thank you for reminding me, for showing me this, right? Also, I didn't think the show would do this way, because I didn't see this in a long while way. Not the deep fake, but the sort of first a long time I haven't seen it. Where the agent, right?
Right.
They do that character just like us.
Yeah, look good. Yeah,
that look real good. It legit look like how the person looked like in the 90s. That's all I say. That's why I was like, wow, round of applause. I did not know I was going to go there, but y'all went there. I love that, right? And that just adds to the big twist, because, all this is part of the big info dump and the big twist and all that kind of stuff, right? But this is a world that I am hugely fascinated by. I'm intrigued by just the aesthetic, the look of it, the design. The set design is great, right? Choice of songs, the music, the tone, the dark tone, and the irony too. I also love the absurdist humor in it as well. There's some nice bits of absurdist humor. Like, case in point, there's a character in the final episode that's learning about something, and there's this character, that's all I'll see, this robotic character that's doing something, and it's just so funny how it does.
Matt Berry,
wow, Dred, this is funny. I love this.
No, but they get Matt Berry to come through, Dred. Like, that was
Matt Berry. Oh shit. Oh, that was him. Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, well, Matt Berry was the robot. He's the voice of the robot. And a lot of people say he could have been a voice of the robot years ago in the games.
Oh,
but to come and see the voice of the robot in the story, in the actual game itself, and in the flashback you saw him now. Like, wow, Joe, that's like a perfect call, though.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? But so I applaud the show, Dre. I applaud the show for going so far into fleshing out this world. I believe this world, the reasoning behind this world being the way it is, makes sense. Yes, it does borrow a lot from post-apocalyptic shows. Like, you will see Mad Max, you will see, I don't know, Fisty North Star. You'll see stuff like that, right? You'll see...
Boy and his dog.
Dog.
There's pull from everything.
Yeah, I noticed a boy and his dog too, to the point that they had a poster with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say the stat was... Go on.
Look up the Noah Caldwell video.
Yeah.
This dude is just like he's doing this real long form essay about this kind of stuff. It's very long form stuff, but it's good stuff.
Right.
It's really good stuff about the Fallout franchise, and then his kind of takes on it, and it's the Americana. Really, probably one of the best essays. He's always giving really good essays on average. So
okay. Well, thanks for your recommendation, but I'll wrap up here, right? But yeah, boy, just the attention to world building alone makes this show fantastic, in my opinion, right? And I should mention the action scenes are very, very well handled. The visual effects, though, you know what I mean? Like, they're not like,
Well, I was impressed. Well, okay, so again, that's why I don't get the 10 out of 10. The visual effects don't hold up at all, especially when the steel armor was bouncing around sometimes.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna say, I had a couple of issues with the creatures. Like some of the creatures, there's one I know it's from the game.
Not that great.
Right, the one that is lurking in the ocean, in the water. That's all I say. Yeah, they could have. I forget
what creature that is. Yeah, but it's like a Axolotl kind of creature. And you learn its origins, and that scene was dark too, when you find out how them thing is made.
Oh, boy, yeah. But not all the VFX works though. But I like that, in terms of the world itself, how it's designed. It doesn't take it completely out issue. You buy into these creatures and characters and robots and all that kind of stuff in this world, right? Not much more I could say, man. Like again, Jonathan Nolan get a chance to do, Westworld, and just like Westworld, boy, it's dark, it's grim, has a lot to say about humanity and how fucked up we are and all that kind of stuff, though. And just attention to detail again,
the creature I'm trying to remember is the Gulper. That's the name of
the Gulper. Yes, that's the name of it, the Gulper. Yeah, even though, right, that's the name of it, right? Yeah, but yeah, Prime Video did it again, boy. Like I should really look up the budget for this, boy, because outside of some iffy, VFX shots here or there, though, they spending money on this, boy.
The only complaint, because I really thought we would get more like stuff involving the Brotherhood of Steel armor, the power armor.
Oh, okay.
But that looked pretty good in the practical stuff, but when it was the CG stuff, it wasn't looking all that great. And some of the shots and the scale of it was a couple moments was kind of off for me, but for the most part, it was fine.
Yeah. So I applaud the effort put into. Cause what the show does well, and I'll wrap up here, right, is take newbies like me and really show me why the world of Fallout is so incredible. Like, it's really an amazing world, and I want to see more of it in the next coming seasons, which I hope that we do get to, because Prime went out of their way to make this shit look good, and for what I read up, I know fans have been enjoying this though. But it's just for me, this minor gripe though. I wish that I got a sense of, the type of game it is, not so much the world, but the type of game it is, right? Through its various incarnations in the franchise. But I guess I should just I should have done a little bit more research on it. But, as you gave me those recommendations, for the video essays, I'll check those out and learn more about this world, because I want to learn more about it, right? So, yeah. So, for me, rating-wise, I'm going to give this, fuck it, strong 4 to very light 4.5 out of 5, boy. This is, one of the most impressive shows I've seen all year, boy. And this show is living proof that don't write off video game adaptations just yet, right? Not saying that all of them work, sometimes it's like some of them just need to put more effort towards the metal. At Halo, but this one, boy, the effort they put into this, boy, is like, what? Just amazing, right? So I'll close this by Borderlands. Never played Borderlands neither, but I love the style of Borderlands. I love how Borderlands look. I love how the characters look. I saw the trailer for it. I was like, all right. Yeah, I mean, McGill, Kate Blanchett did it too, cool. I mean, McGill in it, but, other than that, and of course, the girl from, from Barbie as well, too, who play young Gamora, she in it as well. It's like, it look cool, and Kevin Hart in it, but I don't know, but I want it to be as good, if not better, than Fallout, right? Just judging for what I got here with the show. I hope that Borderlands could bring that same level of quality, with its upcoming, show, right? But I guess we'll see. And, I guess, before we move on, you could tell me, I don't know if you expect Borderlands, the show, to be as good as this one here.
I have no idea. I have no idea because I never got into Borderlands. I kind of I played the first game, but I never loved it. It was fine. But yeah, I find this had me really hooked. I thought it was really excellent. As I say, 9 out of 10. I really wish, I don't know, for the second season we'd see no super mutants, we'd see no death claws. So hopefully we'll get those for the future. We'll find out. They hint at it, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.